Many people find it complicated to use formulas in Notion. They have been recently updated, and in this video, I will present the most important changes. Hello, I am Tatiana, and welcome to Organize with Notion. Notion formulas let you do calculations on your database properties, making Notion even better. The formula language was recently upgraded to version 2.0, making it much stronger. In this video, I'll demonstrate the key updates in the formula editor and how to use properties and functions. I'll also show you new stuff like using variables, formatting text, and working with lists and arrays. In this case, we'll work with two databases, one for projects and one for tasks. The projects database holds the project name and a link to tasks. The tasks database has the task name, a deadline, and a checkbox to show if the task is done or not. To make a formula, hit the plus button and select the formula type. Then, tap on Edit to put in your formula. Notion brings up the formula editor. It's better than the first version, and you can tell by the message at the bottom of the editor. There's a space at the top for typing formulas. Below that, you'll see a live preview of your formula to help you confirm it's correct. The sidebar contains database properties for use in formulas, constants with unchanging values, functions for manipulating numbers, dates, text, and lists, variables that you've set up in your formulas. We'll cover more on these soon. Hover over a function or property to see its usage and examples. Finally, hit Done to keep your formula, or revert if you don't want to save changes. In the old version, to use a property in a formula, you had to type prop and then the property name. In the new version, just type the property name and hit enter or select it from the sidebar. I'm going to use the deadline property to check if a task is overdue. The property will show up with a gray background. But if you copy this formula into a text block, you'll see the formula changes a bit, and properties are accessed using the prop function again. This is done to make sharing formulas easier. When you paste this formula into your database, Notion knows you're using properties. In version 1.0, to use a function, you had to write the function name and then its details. Let's use date between as an example. This function gives the time between two dates. The details we'll use are the deadline property, the now function, which gives today's date, and the word days. This will give us the number of days between the two dates. In version 2.0, you can now use the function straight from the properties. For example, in the deadline property, if you type dot, Notion will display the functions you can use with dates. You can select date between and input now and days. This will show the number of days between the task deadline and today. This makes complex formulas easier to understand because you can link one formula to another. Our formula already calculates the number of days for a task's delivery. The next step is to identify if the task is overdue. I'll start by creating a variable called days for deadline. This is another novelty of the 2.0 version of the formulas and allows you to create variables and reuse parts of the formula in other places of the formula. I will use the let function. The first item is the name of the variable, and the second is the value of that variable. In the end, use the variable in the expression you want. Here, I'm going to check if days for deadline is less than 0. Also, note that the days for deadline variable is available in the left sidebar to be used in the formula. I will improve the formula with an if function. To make it clearer, I'm going to continue the formula on the line below using Shift plus Enter. This function has three parts. The first one is a test. If the test is true, Notion does what is in the second part. If it is false, it does what is in the third part. If days for deadline is less than 0, I will write late. If not, I will write on time. If we check the first task as done, it won't be seen as late. So, I'll change the formula to show this, using the NN symbol. This is a new feature in version 2.0. It lets you use logical operations with NN and MON. Now, a task is only overdue if the days for deadline is less than 0 and the done box isn't checked. You can compare the done box with the built-in false or just use the exclamation symbol to flip the box. The first task is now on track. In version 2.0, you can change the look of texts in formulas by adjusting their colors and style. You can do this using the style function. Simply type .style right after the text. For example, if you want bold, red text, you would type B for bold and red for the color. If you want a red background, type red background. For the text on time, use green and green background to make the text green with a green background. To help understand, I've added comments to explain the formula. Start a comment with /*. And end it with */. Notion formulas now support lists and arrays. An array is just a group of similar things, like numbers, dates, or words. Let's make a formula that uses a list of numbers as an example. To get the first number in the list, we use the @0 function. Remember, counting in an array starts from 0. Project tasks can also be seen as a list. We can use formulas to get the same information we use to need a roll-up for. Let's make a roll-up in the project database to see how many tasks each project has. We'll use the count all operation. We can also get this information with formulas. Just select the tasks property and use the length function. This function tells us how many things are in a list. If you want to see how many tasks are finished in a project, use the filter function. This function lets us only look at items in a list that meet a certain condition. In this case, we only want tasks marked as done. So we'll use current done equals true, or simply current done. To find out how many tasks are done, use the length of function. I hope this video has helped understand the main updates to formulas in Notion. See you next time.